Lucas stood on the edge of the cliff, gazing into the horizon. The world around him was a fragmented puzzle, glitching and distorting as if time itself had cracked. He could feel it, the weight of reality bending, something he had only ever read about. He had seen the worst versions of 2025, dystopian futures, cities consumed by pandemics, technology collapsing. But none of those futures were set in stone. He, Lucas, was a time traveler, tasked with fixing the very fabric of existence. As he stepped forward, everything around him began to flicker, bending and twisting in unnatural ways. The past, the future, all of it converged in a moment that didn't seem to make sense. He wasn't sure how it had happened, but there he was, at the center of everything. He had lived countless iterations of what 2025 could become, each version more catastrophic than the last. But today, this version, this moment, felt different. A woman appeared beside him, her presence ethereal, yet grounded. She was the one who had guided him through the cracks of time, each word she spoke ringing with the weight of truth. "You've seen the worst of it, haven't you?" she asked, her voice soft, but firm. He nodded, his eyes lingering on the chaos that lay before him. "I've seen pandemics, the collapse of societies, the destruction of everything we've built. How do I stop it?" The woman smiled knowingly. "You can't. You never could." Lucas turned to her, confusion washing over him. Then what was the point of all this? The time travel? The jumps? The endless attempts to fix what I thought I could? She stepped closer, her expression calming. "It was never about stopping the chaos, Lucas. It was about understanding it. Accepting it. The future is not a straight line. It's a web, constantly shifting, constantly changing. You can't control it. All you can do is influence it. Make a choice." Lucas started, but she raised a hand, silencing him. "Don't try to control the future. It's a force beyond you. But your choices, your actions, they matter. They shape what happens next." Lucas closed his eyes, feeling the weight of her words sink in. He had been so consumed by the idea of fixing the future, of erasing the darkness he had seen, that he hadn't realized the truth. He wasn't meant to fix it, but to accept that it was beyond his control. There was no perfect future to be found, only the choices made along the way. The world around him was beginning to shift again. He could feel the time fracture, the reality pulling apart and reassembling itself. The chaos he had tried to stop was beginning to settle, forming a new path. A new future. His future. "You can't undo what's been done," the woman said, her voice now a whisper against the wind. "But you can move forward. With what you've learned, with what you've seen. The future is still yours to shape, Lucas. Just, don't try to control it." Lucas opened his eyes. The world around him had calmed, the skies now clear, the air lighter. The cities he had once seen in ruin were now rebuilding themselves, slowly, but steadily. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. The woman gave him a final look, her expression warm yet distant. "The time you've spent here, the choices you've made, they've brought you to this point. You're not just a traveler anymore. You are part of the future." As she faded away, Lucas felt a sense of clarity settle within him. He had spent so long trying to change the future, but now, he understood. The future was a complex web of choices and consequences. His actions mattered, but it was not up to him to decide how it all turned out. The world would continue on, with or without his intervention, but he would live his life, influencing it with every decision he made. The sky above him was now a vibrant canvas of stars, each one twinkling in the vast expanse. The future, Lucas realized, wasn't something he could control. It was something he could experience. And that was enough. "I'm ready," he whispered to the wind. And with that, Lucas stepped into the unknown, ready to face whatever came next. Not as a time traveler bound to fix the past or future, but as a person, free to make his own choices and live with the consequences. The journey was far from over, but for the first time in a long time, he felt ready to embrace whatever it brought. The world shifted again, but this time, it was different. Time, for all its complexities, had found its rhythm. Lucas had learned to let go of control, to embrace the chaos of existence. He understood now that the future wasn't a destination, but a journey shaped by choices, by actions, by the people who dared to live in it. As Lucas moved forward, the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter. Not because the world had been fixed, but because he had found peace in the uncertainty. And so, the story continues, one choice at a time.